Hi, Santiago from Upsafe here. In this video, we will see how to equip, unequip weapons and armors on our character. Go to the demo scene. Open the inventory, and as you can see, we can unequip and equip our weapons and armors. This is done by using this equipped item action, which will move our item from the main item collection to the equipped item collection. We can see this in action by going to our player character and selecting under our inventory component the equipped item collection. As you can see, as we equip and unequip our items, the item collection gets updated in real time. Note that the equipping is not done by the item collection. It is done by our character equipper. The character equipper will monitor our item collection and equipped items accordingly. Note that the character equipper script is specific to the demo. It inherits from our equipper script, which allows us to visually equip weapons and armors, and also lets us use usable items, such as our weapons. The reason we are using a demo-specific script in this use case is because we wanted to update our stats and to play some animations to grab our weapons once equipped. Let's see how the character equipper script is set up. As you can see, we're referencing our character inventory and pointing to an item collection. The item collection we're pointing to is the equipped item collection. We can see this by our purpose here. They are matching. We then have our equipable prefab attribute name and usable item prefab attribute name fields. This lets us specify what is the attribute that we hold our prefabs for our items. One is visual, the equipable prefab, and one is for our usable items. We then have our item slot set. An item slot set is a scriptable object which lets us define some slots. For example, we have a slot which is called right hand, which can hold a weapon item. And in this case, it can only hold one. Similarly, we have a head, chest, and legs set item slot. We can add and remove as many as we want. Once we set our item slot set in this field, the list of item object slots will update. We can customize them such that our item, for example, our weapon slot, can be equipped under a transform. Or we can choose that it is a skinned equipment and therefore should be skinned on the character. For our weapon, we chose to display the weapon under our right hand transform. I forgot to mention that our equipped item collection has a special type of item slot collection. This allows us to point a item slot set here, which is the exact same one that we reference in the character equipper. This allows us to limit what items can be added to this item collection, such that if we equip a second weapon, it will first remove the previous weapon and add the new one. Let's have a look at our item categories and item definitions, which have our equipable and usable item prefab attributes. Go to Tools, OPSIF, Ultimate Inventory System, and Item Definitions Manager. Here, let's find our greatsword, and we'll see our attributes, usable item prefab and equipment prefab. If we go to equipment prefab and click on our prefab, we'll see that it is purely visual. All we have is a mesh renderer and a box collider. We do not have any scripts on it. Let's now have a look at our usable item. Let's go to greatsword, usable item prefab attribute, and as you can see, we are inheriting our sword usable weapon. We can click here to find where it inherits the value from, and as you can see, we're inheriting it from the sword item category. Let's click on it and find our prefab. As you can see, we have a melee attack script, and more importantly, we have our usable item object script. On our usable item object script, we can reference some actions. In our case, we only have one action, which is melee attack. As you can see, we could set our item reference here, but this is set dynamically once the item is equipped. We are using the same prefab for all our swords, whether it is the wooden sword, the great sword, or the master sword. Let's have a look at the wand usable weapon, which is a little bit more interesting. As you can see, in the addition of a usable item object and a range attack script, we have a item binding script. This allows us to bind some values from the item to properties of a script. For example, here we have defined that our wand usable weapon prefab must be of an item category of wand. This way, once the usable item object has a wand item object binded to it, the item binding will bind the values of the attributes of our wand to some values or properties of our script. Here, as you can see, we have set our number of projectiles attributes of our wand to our bullets per fire property under ranged attack. We have done the same also for our projectile prefab. This means that our item for wand can have different projectiles with the exact same prefab. This is really easy to set up. All you have to do is drag and drop your script and then press the drop down to select your property. Let's have a look at our armor prefabs as they are set slightly differently. Go to Tools, OPSIF, Ultimate Inventory System, Item Definitions Manager. Find your knight helmet, and you'll see that we have a equipment prefab but we do not have a usable item prefab. That's obviously because our knight helmet is not a usable item. It is simply a visual equipment. If we find our prefab, we'll see that all it has is a skinned mesh. That is all it needs. When the knight helmet is equipped on the character, the equipment script will automatically add an item object and put the skinned mesh underneath. Therefore, you do not need to add any script on your skinned meshes. That is all for this video. We've seen how to equip and unequip weapons and armors. If you have any questions, please join our forum or our Discord server. You can find the links in the description below. See you in the next video.